all started, I don't know how many years ago, 2015 actually, because I looked back. She put me, actually my best friend, who we have mutually friends in common, she put me in a Facebook group called the Confident Ladies Club. And I was like, hell yeah, I need the Confident Ladies Club. Like, give me a confidence boost. Because that was at like the hardest point in my life when I was just dealing with my dad's grief and figuring out what I wanted to do in life. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do in life, but like I need to figure stuff out. And I was put into Kate's group, and like, it's funny, that's where I learned about like the importance of accountability, and just like she saw me like applying for my master's degree, and she's just been like such a beautiful light in my life, almost from afar for so long, because like I said, we only see each other in passing. But the same way I said, she started this Facebook group with like 50 people. Now it has thousands of people in it. I've seen her develop a podcast that has so many listeners. And then recently, I forget when it released. I want to say January-ish or February. She released her book, Thinking Like a Boss. And I was part of her book launch and got to read it early. And I just remember like trying to use my phone and highlight all the little tidbits of it. And I was like, I just can't wait to get this book in person so I can like really dive into it. So her book is all about the lies we tell ourselves, kind of as entrepreneurs, like, I'm not good enough, people already do this, so it's already been done, I don't have enough time, X, Y, and Z. And Kate asked if she could come on our call and talk to us about mindset and helping us, and also helping her develop as a speaker, which I think is so incredibly awesome. So that's enough about my life with Kate and my introduction to Kate, but I'm going to let her take it away from here and teach us. Annie, can you stop sharing your screen? Oh, you, Kate, you can unmute yourself. We just have everyone muted because of like background kid noises.
Yeah, you might hear some screaming in our background. This is bedtime right now, and I'm usually the one to put everyone to bed. My 3-year-old usually falls asleep twirling my hair, so this should be interesting tonight for my husband. So thank you so much, Christina, for having me tonight. I was so excited to do this, and yeah, it's been so cool to see each other's growth. When we first connected, you didn't have a business, and I remember when you started, just like seeing it unfold and develop and then turn into this and being able to leave your job, and just how excited I was for you. It was just such a cool moment to see. And yeah, so thank you again for having me. So I guess I'll just share a little bit about myself. I'm a therapist. I'm a confidence and mindset coach for female entrepreneurs. I also have some male clients, and I know we got some guys on the call tonight. But I specifically really just speak to women in my messaging. And I started my first business as a psychotherapist about 6 years ago. And I remember I was at a 9 to 5. I was sort of like, it was similar to Christina's story, like loving what I did, but knowing that there was something more, knowing that there was a way to have more freedom and more fulfillment in my life. And I remember just being so scared, thinking about possibly starting a business and then launching the business, and sort of keeping it to myself at first and feeling really just sort of timid to tell other people about it. And little by little, I realized, wow, I really need to work on my confidence. I need to work on my mindset. I need to work around the lies that I tell myself, the fears that I have around finding clients and talking to them about my services and selling what it is that I have to give. And little by little, my business really started to take off. I was able to actually leave my 9 to 5 within 3.5 months of starting my therapy practice. And through that, I just started to help mentor other people and help other people open up their practices. And then it just sort of evolved where this turned into coaching. And I said, let me try this in the online space. Let's see what happens. Let's see if maybe this works. And I will say in the beginning, it felt very hard to first think about getting myself visible, because I was only used to being visible in just sort of, local settings, and wasn't used to sharing my voice, sharing pictures, or anything about myself. It felt so uncomfortable. So I'm not sure where you guys are. Actually, maybe in the chat box, I'd be really interested to hear where you guys are in your business journey, like when you started. If you guys could just drop it in there, I'd love to see. But I remember all of the fears of what's going to happen if I tell my story. Like, what are my friends and family going to think? And, you know, Christina, I don't know if you ever felt this way. I remember distinctly back to Vanessa's bachelorette party, and I was the only business owner there. And I remember thinking, like, they must think I'm crazy, like waking up early to go and work on my laptop. But it was just such a passion project of mine. Wow. So some people 7 years, 2 years, 5 years, recently. This is awesome. So what I really want to teach tonight is this framework that I have, these 6 pillars for this Let's Go from Invisible to Impactful coaching program that I offer. I want to share with you guys just sort of the ins and outs of it, because I feel like these are the sort of 6 pillars that no matter where you're at in your business, they're going to come up. And these are the things that really worked for me with building the traction and being able to find consistent leads in my business for the services and the products that I offer. And this is what's been really helpful for my clients. So if you guys have a pen and notebook, please get it out, because I have a bunch of questions to ask you guys with mindset work. And I should actually probably explain that a little bit. With mindset work, for me, I was trained as a therapist. So my roots and foundation are really in therapy. And I was trained in something called dialectical behavior therapy. And it's a skills-based treatment that was developed in the 1980s to really help specifically women with borderline personality disorder, and to help them through the feelings of feeling very like things are black and white in life, and feeling like other people don't understand them, having very high and low emotions at the same time. Borderline personality disorder can look very similar to bipolar disorder. And what they found was that this treatment was so effective with these patients that they started to use it in all different types of psychological disorders. So anxiety, depression, eating disorders, pretty much everything. And it's like one of those treatments that's so simple and easy to grasp. And at times, some of the sort of exercises that we go through, they seem like so common sense because they're just simple questions. But these are the things, and Christina probably remembers, like from the book, like none of it is rocket science. It's like they're just the simplest little things, and they're so impactful, and they're things that you constantly just need to like tell yourself over and over. So I'm just going to dive in. I have a bunch of notes because I want to make sure that I get through this on time. I can talk a lot. So we're going to start with the first pillar, which is visibility. So I just want to talk about the importance of visibility. So number 1, no visibility equals no business. And I think we have to really get honest with ourselves, because at times we feel like we're visible, we're on social media, we're all over. But our fears tell us, our fears sort of like exacerbate whatever we're doing. So you may share like a sale or a product, like this new product line that's going on. You may share that once and feel like I shared it so many times, but in reality, you only shared it one time. So we really have to get honest with ourselves first. Then number 2, if people don't know who you are, they're not going to be able to trust you. So it's really important that we're honest, that we share who we are. We really share our backgrounds. We share, which I know Christina does so beautifully, is just like all of the things going on in her life, and always tying it back to business. That's something I want to say today, is that we can share whatever we want to share as long as it's tied back to how we serve our people, which is through fitness, through shakes. So we have to build that know, like, and trust. Number 3, people don't buy what we sell. They buy the outcome. They buy the transformation. So it's really, really important that we not only show our own life transformation, but the transformation of the other people that have worked with us, that have purchased products from us. And I think when life gets really busy at times, these are the things that we forget to do. So it's good to just have a list of these things, and maybe you're all already doing them, but remembering we need to show up, we need to be visible, we need to share these transformations that other people have had. And then number 4, people need to see consistency. If they want to join your team, maybe as building their own business, or if they want to join your community to have personalized workouts and meal plans and all of that stuff, they need to see that you're consistent. They need to see that you don't just come on one day and then don't show up the next day. This is really important to gain that trust. And when I've purchased from people, I always look at, okay, like let's say with Beachbody, there are so many coaches you can pick from. But for you, what's going to make you stand out is when you're showing up all the time. You're showing your people that you care, that you're there to listen. You're there to help them with whatever their needs are. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second pillar. And I'm going to let you guys answer or ask questions at the end too. But if any questions come up while I'm going through this, also please just drop them in the chat box. So number 2, the second pillar is mindset. So as you guys, some of you may know, mindset is everything. What we tell ourselves is true. So if we tell ourselves, I'm going to fail at this business, people are no longer going to buy anymore because they've lost their jobs or whatever, that's what's going to happen. But if we tell ourselves that I'm going to succeed, people are going to buy from me, people will find a way for what's a priority for them, then we will sell, then we will succeed. And I know it sounds so silly, but it's the truth. So often we self-sabotage and we don't even understand that we're doing it. I had a call with my coach today and uncovered that there's this thing that I've been self-sabotaging for a while. And I think that there are so many different blind spots in our lives and in our businesses. And it's so important that you have this type of community where you have people who can call you out and help you find what those blind spots are. Because again, if you catch yourself saying that over and over again, I'm not going to succeed, you're not going to. So flip that for yourself. So what we often do is we focus on past experiences that haven't worked out for us. So maybe you reached out to a particular person in the past and they were really rude to you and you had a bad experience. So that holds you back from going out and doing outreach again. Or maybe we focus too much on the future and the what ifs, like, okay, I had that past experience. Now, if I go do this, we sort of become a fortune teller and we tell ourselves a story of how it's going to play out for this person. Or sometimes we tell ourselves a story of maybe what we're experiencing and we put it on the other person. So we get very stuck in either the past or the future. And what's most important in order to find success in your business is to just stay in the present and to focus on the present. And to not go back to those old stories or future stories you're telling yourselves. And there's something that, I don't know who said it, it was a quote I heard a long time ago, but focusing too much on the past is what will keep you feeling depressed. Focusing too much on the future is what will cause anxiety. Focusing on the present is what will give you the most joy. So really just trying to be intentional with everything that we do. And I have 5 questions for you guys. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Question number 1 is, and actually, Christina, if you want, I can send these over to you after if you want to post them. But question number 2 is, what past stories and fears do you replay over and over in your mind? Was it a bad experience? Could it go back to maybe middle school, high school? That comes up for a lot of the clients that I work with. Being bullied in the past, like, it's real. We bring everything into our businesses. And it's crazy because before going into business, you think, okay, I just need to learn the skills. But then you get into business and you realize it's so much more than that. Our business is an extension of us. And if we're not feeling well inside, if our mindsets are not in the right place, our businesses are not going to succeed as greatly as they could if we were in a good place. So that number one question is, what past stories and fears are you replaying over and over again that are holding you back? Number two, what future stories are you telling yourself and you're creating that are keeping you stuck? So what are those future stories that you're telling yourself? Number three, where would you be if the past and future stories were gone? And I want you guys to like really take some time. I don't know if any of you guys already journal, but just having journaling prompts can be so therapeutic and just eye-opening in your business. So where could you be? Like, dream big. Don't hold back. Really don't hold back here. And then number four, what's the worst thing that could happen if these fears did come true? Often we tell, like, the worst thing for us is we're going to fail. It's all going to be over. But when we can actually get real with ourselves and tell ourselves the worst thing that could happen in that scenario, it makes it a little bit easier. And it's usually not as bad as we think it's going to be. And there's usually a solution. So I used to think, okay, what if I'm doing well in this therapy practice. What if I leave my 9 to 5 to take this on full time? And then what happens if I fail? What happens if I stop bringing income in? And that kept me crippled for a little while. But once I was able to say, okay, the worst thing that could happen is maybe I don't make as much money in my business and I can't pay my bills. So what can I do? I can go and find another job. I can find a way to make extra money on the side. I think that there's always a solution for that worst thing. And that's why it's important that we just say it out loud. But then on the other hand, number 5, what's the best thing that could happen if you were able to work through all these fears? There is so much available to all of us. There's so much abundance out there. And as you guys can see, seeing your leaders, where they've gone in these businesses, multimillionaires in Beachbody, right? Yeah. Like there's so far that you guys can go with this, and you have to believe it. That's the thing. If you believe you're going to get there, you can get there. So those are my 5 questions for you for mindset pillar. The third pillar is confidence. So I don't think anyone is born with confidence. Confidence is something that we have to continually work on. It's a muscle. We can't just become confident in one area and feel confident in everything. And I remember being so naive years ago and just thinking that, like, okay, once I feel confident in selling in my business, I'll be set. Like, business will be easy. But there's always something else, and we have to continually work on it. And all of these things we have to work on all the time. And I always say the only way to create confidence is through consistency. So, starting a business or growing your team, it's going to feel hard at first, right? It's going to feel paralyzing to some people. But the only way to do it is through something called opposite action. And this is something that we teach in dialectical behavior therapy. And if you've read the book, you'll probably remember this from the book. But let's just say your fear is reaching out to people to join your team. Okay. You have all those thoughts in your mind. You know you need to do it, but you would rather shrink. You'd rather hide. You'd rather avoid it. That's the normal reaction. All that does is create more anxiety. So with opposite action, what we need to do is the complete opposite. We need to dive through the fear. And that is the only way to relieve yourself of that anxiety. So diving through the fear and doing the reach out, putting it out there, seeing what happens. Once you've done it, the anxiety's gone. And I think so often we just hide behind that and we stay stuck for so long because we feel like it's safe. But it only makes us more anxious. And the longer we wait, the longer it snowballs and it gets worse and worse. So I always say, if there's something that you need to do that's causing you anxiety, you don't feel very confident about, just do it right away. Do it as soon as you can, because as soon as you do it, that stress, that anxiety is going to be alleviated. And then you can move on to the next thing. And each time you do that, it's going to get easier and easier. And yes, you're going to get no's, but I say, like, with every no, there will be a yes in the future. So the more no's you get, the better off you're going to be. That means the more yeses you're going to get in the future. And after a while, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to hearing no. And, people say rude things back to you. And that's always about them. It's not about us. So with confidence, again, you have to be consistent. It's doing those hard things that scare you over and over again. When I first started my business, I was terrified to go onto social media just post a picture of myself. I wanted to pass out. It was so scary. And then to share anything personal, it was scary. To do an Instagram story or a live, or back then when I started, there was something called Periscope. I remember hyperventilating, shaking. And again, today I can do this and it's fun for me. Usually the things that scare you, once you get over that fear, they actually become fun, and they become even more fun because you've overcome. So for any of you today that are maybe experiencing a little stress, a little anxiety, or maybe a lot of stress and anxiety around to reach out, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. So one thing that I want to challenge all of you here to do, and I do this every day, is make sure every day that you are living and breathing that you do one thing that scares you. It's simple. Do something that takes you out of your comfort zone. This could be something, as I always use this example, it's silly, but as simple as going into a gas station and saying, hey, I have a dollar bill. Can I have 4 quarters? For some people that causes anxiety, being assertive like that. It doesn't have to be business related. This could be in just personal relationships. It could be someone who calls you, like a solicitor. In any area, just do something that's out of your comfort zone. This is how you build your confidence. Okay, pillar number 4 is connection and relationship building. This is my favorite. This is the easiest way to grow your business, is just being human, being yourself, just showing up, building relationships. I found that the more social I was in my business, the more money I made in my business. And when there's times where maybe clients aren't coming in as quickly, I look and I evaluate, and I always see the common denominator is that I'm just not being as social. So let me just take a quick little drink of water. I have 3 little tips here for you. Number 1 is just be yourself, okay? It's exhausting to try to be like your team leader, or the top Beachbody person, or someone you think is doing it right. It's exhausting. I tried that in the beginning. If you go to YouTube and you look up my name, it's really embarrassing. My first couple of videos, I had on a blazer, like a sport coat, because this is 5 years ago. I thought that in order to be taken seriously, I would need to be dressed up and look professional. And right now I have a sweatshirt on and leggings. I'm comfortable. But I realized it was exhausting, and having to put makeup on for me was exhausting. And that caused me to not show up because I felt like I had to be perfect and things needed to be perfect. And I realized that once I could just show up as myself, however that looked, however that was, whether I was tired or energized or feeling social or not feeling social, and just made human connection, my business would grow. So keep it easy for yourself. Just show up as yourself. That's what people want to see. They want to see, people don't like seeing perfect either. They want to see when things are hard. They want to hear you talk about that. They want to feel like they're not the only one going through something. Get to know people organically. So, when we make our list of business building activities, something I always tell my clients to do is, as your business building activities, add on the coffee shop, add on going to yoga, add on going to a spin class, like getting out of the house. And even though, yes, you're selling Beachbody, I would say still go and find those places outside, because people might be interested to do something at home in addition to their yoga at a studio or whatever. Do one of those, like go to like a painting party, go to something. If it's, I don't know, just something social that you can find. If it's a party, say yes to all of the things that feel fun for you. If it doesn't feel fun, don't go. But if it feels fun, go and do it. That's where I've actually found, where my clients have found me, is through social interaction. I did something for fun because I was feeling really just sort of isolated when I first had both of my babies. So I started to do these meetups and have them at my home and just say, hey guys, from 10 to 12, door is open. DM me if you want the address. I'd make sure they're not a creeper. Have them come to my house, bring a snack to share. And it's not networking, so you're not going to have a name tag. There's not going to be any elevator pitches. But I just want you guys to be human. I want you to get to know each other. I want you to just talk. And I would never share about my business at these things. I would just ask people questions. And we're going to get into that later, actually. And almost every meetup, there's always someone who signs up for coaching after. There's always someone that ends up working with the VA or working with a health coach. It's crazy how it works out. But just from being human, people connect and people want to buy from you. They want to be a part of your life. So keep it easy. Number 2, ask people questions. So that's all that I do at these meetups. I don't talk about myself at all. I just ask questions. Tell me about your life. Tell me how things are going for you. That's all you have to do. People love to be able to talk and to share. And that's what people want. They want you to just listen. They want you to be interested. So listen more and always speak less. Number 3, share your darn brownies. So in the book, Christina's smiling because she remembers this, there's this analogy. Because again, people are often afraid to sell. They're afraid of, what are people going to say? Are they going to reject me or whatever? Think of it as, I use this analogy of going to a fall football game. You bake this batch of brownies before you go, and you have this big tin that you bring with you. You're by yourself, and you open up this tin of brownies to eat. Most likely, you would probably ask the person next to you, because everyone can obviously smell them. They smell delicious. You'd ask them, hey, do you want a brownie? They might say, sure. Then you ask the person sitting under you, do you want a brownie? I'd love a brownie, but I'm actually gluten-free, so I can't. Okay. You ask their friend, do you want a brownie? Sure. You ask the other person sitting above you, I love a brownie, but I'm on a diet right now. So some people are going to love brownies. Other people are just not going to like brownies, or maybe it's not the right time because they're on a diet, or maybe it doesn't fit with their schedule because they have a health intolerance or whatever. But I guarantee nobody will just say to you, hey, stranger, can I have one of your brownies? You have to put the offer out there. When you have something that you know that you love, that has transformed your life, has given you freedom in your life, has transformed your health, it's only natural to want to share. Some people are going to accept, and some people are just, it's not going to be the right time, or they're just not going to want them or whatever. But it's our job to ask. And when we don't ask, oh, thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Tanisha. When we don't ask, again, they may not come. They may not come and ask us. So we have to put that invitation out there. And just because you ask them once and they said no, doesn't mean they're going to say that in the future. So go ahead and ask again. Follow up. The sale is always in the follow up. I think it's like an average of like 7 to 13 times. And you guys, if you know the correct fact for this, you can correct me, but I think it's like 7 to 13 times that you have to have a touch point with someone before they actually make that sale. Especially these days, people are so busy and they forget. And maybe they want to say yes, but they just haven't had the time. Like, that's me. I have a 19-month-old and a just turned 3-year-old, and I feel like it's just a complete circus here all the time. And there are people that like have had to follow up with me a couple times, like, hey, remember, like, we were gonna do this package together or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, please send me the invoice. I'll pay you. I'm ready. But I need people to follow up with me at times. So just remember, you got to follow up. Okay. And I'm going to try to get through the next quickly because I know we're running out of time. Pillar number 5 is leading with value. So number 1, always give more than you receive. Number 2, don't hold back. I have so many women that come to me and just say, I'm so afraid. Like, I have so much I want to share, but I'm afraid to put it out there for free because then they're not going to want to join my team, or they're not going to want to get pay for the workouts, or they're not going to want to pay for the meal plan or whatever. Put as much free stuff out there as you can. I tell everyone, basically any one of my courses, if you go and sift through 5 years of content, you can probably find every point in my courses. But people pay us to put everything in a nice package, to condense for us, to give us the plan, to make it easy because everyone's lives are busy. So you can do it on your own, right? People can just try to figure out their own meal plan, try to figure out their own workouts, do all the free stuff, but they're going to be chasing their tail for a while. Or, yes, I love that, Craig, give more than you receive. Or they can join your workout plan or your team or whatever it is and have everything condensed and in a beautiful package for them. So no matter what, give everything that you can give, okay? Give it all away and people will still come to you. Also because they want that experience, they want that feeling of relationship. And that's what's so great about connecting on social media is like when I signed up for Beachbody with Christina last year. I was like, I want it with her because you're just so fun. And it's like, I just relate to you. I relate to your meal plans. Like I related to everything that you were talking about. So it's so important. Again, just share everything that you can, and people, lots of coaches post the exact workouts we do, but people still want to buy. Yes, because it's not the same. Exactly. Yes, because it's coming from you. People want that community with you, right? Like to be able to, if you have a Facebook community where you offer extra support, people are always looking for more accountability, for more friendship. That's the other thing too, is you don't get accountability just from following people and getting their content on Instagram. You get accountability, which accountability gives you results from being a part of one of your communities. And then number 3, a friend of mine taught me this, and it's always stuck with me. She always asks people this question, and I do it now too. How can I serve you? So that was sort of like how I was able to do this. Was I asked Christina, like, is there any way that I could come on and I could like share a little bit about some of the stuff from my book and some of the stuff that I teach on? Because it opens up, number 1, it serves other people, but it also is an invitation, right? Where now people can hear about my book and people can share that with other people who are looking for a resource on mindset. So always find people. If it's like someone has some type of group program or someone is offering, let's say someone's doing like a conference, when we get back to conferences, and you say like, hey, can I do a warm up for your conference? Like, I'll do it for free. Can I just come and do it? How amazing is that? People are going to connect with you. They're going to love your personality on the stage, and they're going to want to sign up to be on your team. So find opportunities like that where you ask, how can I serve you? How can you do something for free that will, first of all, give you practice, right? That's what I really was hoping. Hey, can I do this to get some practice? Because I want to do this for other teams. And you'll always get back, right? Like, this just serves me so much, being able to practice and to be able to get feedback from you guys. So how can I serve you? And the sixth pillar is consistency. So consistency is what gets you the results. It's what builds the confidence. I always say, either commit or quit. You don't want to be lukewarm. You don't want to be in the middle. That's what messes with your mindset. And there's been times in my business where I've sort of had to have been in the middle, because maybe there's been a lot going on with life. And I'll tell you, like, those middle times when I'm not able to fully commit in my business, they're the hardest times. It's easier to say, like, I'm quitting. It's really hard to be in the middle, but the result comes from when you commit. So whatever that commitment looks like for you today, whether it's showing up every day or showing up a couple times a week. And here's the thing, you can't compare what you're doing with what other people are doing, because your life may look a lot different. Maybe you have a sick relative that you're taking care of right now, or you're working a full-time job, or you have this business plus another business, or you have little kids home with you. Your life looks different than other people's, so you can't compare what other people are doing. And you have to just be realistic with your goals. So, right now I have very, very limited time in my business. So I know, okay, with little kids home with me, very limited time, I'm not going to be able to maybe make the income that I was making when I was pouring 80 hours a week into my business before having kids. And that's fine. So I think it's like not putting the pressure on yourself to perform where other people are performing when you don't have the capacity to do that. So I have 3 last questions for you guys, and then you guys can feel free to ask any questions. Number 1, get honest with yourself. How consistent have you really been? Number 2, what would going in 100% in your business look like? And how far away are you from that right now? Because I guarantee no one is 100% in. And then number 3, what's stopping me? What are those things you're telling yourself? Are there excuses? Like, are there realities? What's stopping you from being 100% consistent in your business? So those are the 6 pillars. Susan said, the thief of comparison steals our joy. Yes, we have to keep the focus on us. And it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole on social media. It's like you go on to get work done, to nurture relationships, and then you just start comparing. If you can set a timer on your phone, if you could put a limit on your social media, that can help. At least it sort of gives you an idea of how much time you're spending. So I have a limit on my Instagram where it goes off after I've been on for 90 minutes a day. That's my max. And when there's days where I'm on less than that, I celebrate. And it's not that I'm not doing work, but I celebrate that most likely I went on, did my work, and didn't get distracted. So, any thoughts, any questions for you guys?
I love it. So many nuggets in there. I love all of the questions and like self-reflection. Because like I am consistent, but then when you ask like what would going in 100% be like and how far am I from it, I'm like, ooh, it's a good question. Like it's one of those, like you said in the beginning, it's so easy. It's an easy question,
Totally.
but I forget the word you used. So good. I have so many notes. I love it. And I like how you worded it about how to lead with value, because whatever you give away for free, I can think of like I've signed up for courses before, and like as I'm going through the course, I'm like, I remember her saying this in this post, and then in this
Yep.
post, but I'm paying for it all in one.
Exactly.
It's
Because you
so
could
true.
take the time to put it all together yourself, to Google all the workouts, the meal plans, or you can just pay a little bit of extra money and have everything tied nicely in a little bow for you. And I have these funny headphones and microphone on because I have a podcast. I think you mentioned that. It's called Thinking Like a Boss, in case any of you guys want to continue listening. Every week I do a 20-minute teaching episode. And I used to do interviews the first year and a half, which go back, if you listen to podcasts, go back and listen to those, because I interviewed some incredible women who, some of them were peers, some of them were people that I really looked up to, and asked them what their top lie was or limiting belief that they told themselves in business, how it held them back, and how they worked through it. And every time it was like a therapy session for me. I always felt like I was walking away with so much just hearing other people's stories of how people, especially who you really look up to, and seeing that the road hasn't been easy for them. And they've still been able to be successful.
So awesome. What questions do you typically get? Like, is there something that's like a common question you feel like you always get on meetups or calls or on a podcast or anything that like?
I think for most people, I feel like one of those number one questions is like, what do I do when I don't have time? And the first question I ask is, how much of a priority is this thing for you? Because that's really what it comes down to. It's usually not the time, it's the priority. And if this is a priority, whatever that is, if it's hitting another ranking or signing a certain number of people under you, you will find the time to make it happen. And the important thing when you need to find the time to make it happen is setting boundaries. So how can you start, like, take a look at your life, take inventory. Where can you start setting better boundaries in your life? Like saying no to things that maybe aren't really serving you anymore. Sometimes it's friendships you have to put aside that aren't really serving you anymore. Maybe they're one-sided or they're just negative. Are you watching too much TV? Like there's so many little things that I think when we have certain habits, we just do them without thinking, and we don't realize at times how much time we're wasting. So a question I ask, and I say this like on every podcast I go on, is what are 3 things that you can cut out of your life and out of your schedule right now? What are 3 things that you can start cutting out? And asking yourself that question, if you can, every week, if not every month. Oh, Patrick just said that. I was going to ask that. I look at my schedule every week and I ask myself, this commitment that I'm doing right now, like, does this feel exciting to me? And if not, then I ask myself, how can I next time, like, maybe say no or not get myself in that situation to do this commitment or whatever. If someone asks you, if, think of it like this, if an opportunity is presented to you or someone asks you to hang out or have a conversation or whatever, and it's not exciting for you today, if it's not something you can make time for today, don't put it off for the future, because we always think we're going to have more time in the future. And today is actually the most time we're ever going to have. The future, we can't tell what's going to come up. Like, who would have thought that we would be living through a pandemic and our lives would be changed? Never could have imagined that. Like, there were commitments that I said yes to in the winter that I maybe didn't want to do, but I knew I had time in my schedule because my kids were going to be at daycare. And then COVID happened and I realized those were maybe things that I just sort of said yes to because I knew there was a little bit of time. They weren't really things that I was excited about. So making sure that you are only doing what lights you up, what makes you excited, and not doing things out of guilt or what you feel like other people want of you or are expecting of you. So that is my long answer to your short question.
I love that answer. Thank you. Sometimes we have like 1,000 questions and sometimes we're like a quiet bunch. I think today's a quiet bunch kind of night.
Yeah, well, if you guys have any other questions that come up after this, feel free. Christina, you can give them my email or just shoot me a message on Instagram.
Do you want to share what your Instagram handle is so that we can follow you?
Yes, thank you. It's Kate Crocco. So just my name, KateCrocco. Thanks, Christina.
No problem. I do see one question above what I typed. How can we help coaches prevent a bad past experience from holding them back? That's a good question.
I think having them look at that reframe of realizing it wasn't about them and it probably was about that other person. And just because it was a bad experience in the past doesn't mean it's going to be that in the future. And trying to stay present. Just really, I'm just trying to think of, I'm a little stumped with this one right now. I think that so many people at times feel like, oh, I had a bad experience with trying to do this business or joining a network marketing team or something. And I always say, like, just give it another try. Try it, see what happens. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But don't just say no because you're afraid that what happened in the past is going to happen again. Because when it happened in the past, you were a different person. Like, right? We grow every single day. You were living through a different experience. That other person, if they said no or whatever that bad experience was, we're probably not going to experience that same person again. There also are always going to be challenges in business and setbacks in business. And I think once we can just sort of accept that, that there are going to be days where you just want to quit, where someone says something, you send a really nice message to someone and someone sends something nasty back to you, or you just have a bad experience and you say you want to throw the towel in, but just give it a shot again. Like, you have nothing to lose. I think it's a perfect example. Commit during hard times. Yeah, so I think get realistic with yourself. Like, what can you commit to right now? By setting boundaries, how much time do you actually have to commit? So now is the perfect time when we commit during hard times. Yeah, I think here's the thing. If you can succeed during these challenges right now, you're going to be fine once we go back to not once we go back, because we're never going back. We're only going to a better future. So once we get to the better future, you're going to flourish. So if you can get through right now with whatever resources you have, whatever little bits of time that you have, you're going to be fine. But again, asking yourself, how much of a priority is this for me? And what can I do to allow more time for myself to commit, or space or energy?
I think it's like the perfect use of that question. You said, what are the 3 things I can cut out?
Yeah. 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 If you can get through this right now, you'll get through anything in the future. It's a hard time for people. But I always ask the question of, people say like, why is this happening to me? But I flip that to, how is this actually serving me? How is this going to serve me in the future? And maybe it's just that you're going to come out of this even stronger mentally. Maybe that's what it is. But every setback, every difficult time is always an opportunity for growth and to pivot and to learn how to run your business differently too. Like, I don't think anyone's going to come out of this with this exact same business. Like, things are going to be shifted, and that's a good thing. What does consistency look, Patrick says, what does consistency look like for you every day to show up in the small amount of times you have? So, Patrick,
Technically, Patrick is Annie under her brother's name.
Yeah,
so just so
it's
you
me,
know.
but-
Oh!
I'm just on his lane, so it's me, Annie. Yeah.
How funny. Oh my goodness. So waking up at 5 to hopefully get up before the kids are up. And first of all, I start the day. For me, it's prayer and devotional, 10 minutes. Read something positive. Always get your mind started with something other than work. Have my coffee. That makes me happy. I go to bed every night excited to wake up and have my coffee. So for some people, it's hard to get up early. But again, if you want it bad enough, you're going to do it. You're going to do whatever you have to do in order to find that success. When I was writing this book, I'll show you guys the cover. This is me with makeup on and my hair done with the professional photography. When I was writing the book, there were some chapters that I would wake up at 3 a.m. to get written, because that's just how it was with a newborn and a toddler. So it's not going to be comfortable, but you're going to be so proud of yourself after when you get to see those results. So yeah, so it's waking up really early, getting a couple of hours in. My husband works full time, 9 to 5. I mean, it's longer than 9 to 5, but typical job. So I'm babysitter, I'm mom, stay-at-home mom during the day. Try to do whatever I can in the downtimes. If you guys have kids right now, just do what you can. If you have to put them in front of the TV for hours at a time, you're doing the best that you can. Like, this is what we have to do to survive right now. I think of like my childhood, raised in the 80s. My parents kept me in a playpen in front of the TV all the time. That's what they tell me. And I'm like, all right, I turned out fine. So it's fine. Let your kids watch TV. If you have to work late at night, try to get sleep though. That's one thing. It's like, don't skimp on sleep. I think we're all different people when we don't get enough sleep. I'm pretty short with people when I don't get enough sleep. Yeah, your mom loved the playpen too. Yeah, it must have been a 1980s thing. And after having 2 kids, I'm like, if we end up having a third, I'm totally getting a playpen. 100%. I'm going to be that mom. It's fine. It's fine.
I have a puppy, and she has a playpen.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know why I didn't get one. It's too late now, but I would totally have gotten one.
I love that like something to look forward to in the morning. Like I go to bed excited for my coffee in the morning. Like to pick something in our next day that we are so excited for is something I don't do often enough. Like I am excited to have my tea in the mornings, but like I don't think of it before I go to bed. Like I think of it when I wake up, but going to bed with that thought is a really nice idea. This was so awesome, Kate. You're so awesome. You rocked it. You did so good.
Oh, thank you.
I had no doubts though.
This was fun. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you. Any last questions or anything you want to end on that you may not have already said? Everything you gave was wonderful though.
Yeah, just feel free to reach out if you guys have questions. Again, do something every day that's out of your comfort zone. Do something that scares you, and you will 100% find results in your business. There's no way to not get results when you're doing something every day out of your comfort zone.
I love that. Beautiful way to end it. Anything you want to say, Patrick, Annie?
No, I love that. I took about 6 pages of notes, and I'm definitely going to go back. So many good things, so many good tips, and I feel like now more than ever, so many people need to hear this. Just having something to look forward to when you go to bed, something to do for yourself when you wake up in the morning, setting your mood right. I know I need it with 3 little kids running around all the time, and nothing looks as perfect as it does and people think on social media. So being yourself is always key. So thank you so much. Christina, do you want to end with our special ending?
Oh, you girl.
So we do a little special thing at the end. I'm gonna unmute everybody. So our team is obviously Team Boom. So I mute on here. I have my husband's computer, which is a PC, and I like never use PCs. So. How do I unmute everybody? Hold on.
Everyone can just unmute themselves if they want.
Yeah, if you guys want to unmute yourself, you're on here. So we end with just a little something for you guys. So if you guys can unmute yourself, I can figure it out. Hey, look, I can't do everything. There we go. Oh, mute. There we go. Allow them unmute themselves. Okay. All right. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. We really appreciate this. I will post this recording for all of you guys to share with your teams. Thank you. I look forward to following you on Instagram.
Yes, thank you guys. Please say hi.
Thank you, Kate. You did wonderful.
Hi.
Thank you for teaching me.
Hi, Christina, thank you for introducing me to us.
Of course. Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Let's see if the kids are down.
I know, that's what I'm going to do. I do this.